Now, the war in Gaza is still raging on. Israel continues with heavy attacks on Gaza, and many women and children have been killed. The U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, visited the Middle East. And in other developments, the Prime Minister of Israel has suspended the minister after he suggested that Israel can drop a nuclear bomb. Now, let's speak to our correspondent in Tel Aviv, Sarah Coates, to talk us through what the latest developments have been. Sarah, good morning. So please take us through what the minister actually said and the seriousness of the statement, as well as the reaction from Israel and the Arab countries around.
Yes, good morning. Well, look, he's not just being slammed in the Arab world. He's also being slammed here in Israel and through Israel's political establishment. This happened yesterday. He was speaking to ultra-Orthodox radio, a station run by these people. He was asked about the situation in Gaza, of course. He said that there are no uninvolved citizens in Gaza. The radio host then said, well, could this nuclear bomb option actually be an option? And he said, well, that is one way. Look, he later tried to sort of walk it back, saying that his comments were metaphorical, but the damage has certainly been done. Now, there were swift calls for him to be fired immediately. As you said, he has been suspended. He won't be able to attend any cabinet meetings. But look, there really are calls for him to be kicked out completely. We heard the Prime Minister, his office, put out a statement afterwards saying that this is not based on reality. Yair Lapid, the opposition leader, he said this is shocking and crazy, calling him irresponsible. While the Defence Minister, Yoav Gallant, he said that it's lucky that he is not in charge of national security. But look, one of his coalition members is. This is Itamar Ben-Gvir. He's a right-wing lawmaker, a person that is not very widely liked here in Israel. He's the person that's often seen trying to ascend the Temple Mount, causing massive protests in Jerusalem and in the West Bank. This is a man that's actually been convicted of incitement. So look, it is certainly a huge problem, and this is the problem that's really being seen in Israel since Benjamin Netanyahu formed this coalition with all of these right-wing lawmakers. Many people believe that it is giving this far right. The far right is really not seen as any kind of good here in Israel. People believe that it is giving them legitimacy, and since Benjamin Netanyahu partnered with these people, there's been a huge spike in settler violence. There have been more illegal housing settlements approved in the West Bank, and it is really causing a lot of problems here in Israel. This is why there have been huge protests, if you do remember, since January of this year, when this government basically tried to strip the Supreme Court of all its powers and put more powers in the hands of the government. So look, huge problems here in the region at a time that certainly does not need them.
And Sarah, of course, we see the U.S. top diplomat Antony Blinken in the region once more, and the Secretary of State, what is the purpose for his latest visit to the region?
Well, look, he is really trying to de-escalate things. He's currently in Turkey. He'll meet with Turkey's foreign minister today. But what is being seen as a bit of a snub, Turkish President Erdogan, he'll actually be touring the north of Turkey, won't be meeting with Blinken. But look, Blinken did meet yesterday in Ramallah with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. He's also visited Iraq. So it's certainly a big whirlwind tour of diplomacy here as he's trying to bring down the tensions in this region. Even overnight here, there were huge barrages of rockets here into Tel Aviv. The situation on the northern border continues to escalate. More rockets fired over from southern Lebanon into Israeli territory. This area, we do need to add, has been evacuated now for a few weeks, with the main hospital in the north, the Rambam Hospital, put into war mode. So look, even on top of this, we just learned this morning that a nuclear-powered submarine has also been deployed to the region, and the US actually announced where it would be, which is quite rare. It would be deployed around the same sort of area as these two aircraft carrier squadrons. So it just goes to show how worried the United States is of this situation actually spilling over.
And just finally, Sarah, how is Israel's ground offensive progressing at the moment? Because there is a seemingly growing outcry from across the world about what's currently happening in Gaza and more calls for a ceasefire.
You're certainly right. Well, look, Israel is being seen as increasingly cut off from parts of the world. We do know now from the Israel Defense Forces, it said late last night that it has now separated the north from the south in Gaza, surrounded completely Gaza City, with the IDF adding that it does expect to actually move into Gaza City in the next 48 hours. Now, we can also report that a big aid shipment, a medical shipment or drop rather, was conducted by the Jordanians overnight. They dropped it from the air, from an aircraft carrier, into the Gaza Strip just to provide some much needed medicine. The situation there remains extremely dire. And UNRWA, which is the UN's major group that supports Palestinian refugees, it actually came out to say that since the beginning of this war, 88 of its employees have actually died. So look, it is a shocking humanitarian situation that is ongoing. And this is one of the reasons that we are seeing Secretary of State Blinken here in the region trying to facilitate not only more aid into the Strip, but more humanitarian corridors to let the injured people out.
Sarah, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks so much. Our correspondent in Tel Aviv, Sarah Coates, with the latest in terms of what is currently playing out there.